Hi, I'm Norm Abram. Welcome to the new Yankee workshop.
They say legends never disappear, but one day, Norm Abram did, and the world has been whispering ever since. A man who spent decades building masterpieces with steady hands suddenly stepped away in silence. No goodbye tour, no explanations, no final message to the millions who grew up watching him. But here's the part that stunned everyone. Why did Norm's closest friends start saying that something was wrong months before he left? Why did producers quietly remove certain behind-the-scenes footage from public archives? And why, after years of absolute silence, did Norm finally agree to speak, only for fans to say his confession was the most heartbreaking thing they've ever heard from him? Because before the calm voice, before the plaid shirts, before the workshop everyone trusted, there was a secret Norm carried so deeply that even the network refused to discuss it. A secret connected to his sudden weight loss, his missing appearances, and a medical scare that almost ended his career long before anyone knew. Today, Norm finally breaks his silence. And once you hear the truth, you will understand why he stayed quiet for so long, and why this may be the last time we ever hear from him again. Before we dive in, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because what you're about to hear changes everything. Norm Abram's story begins long before television cameras ever found him, back in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, where he was born on October 3, 1949. His earliest memories were shaped by the smell of sawdust and the steady rhythm of tools in his father's workshop. While other kids spent weekends running around the neighborhood, Norm stood beside a skilled carpenter who never treated the craft as a hobby but as a language. That silent apprenticeship became the foundation of everything Norm would later build. It wasn't just instruction, it was a bond. One of their earliest and most meaningful projects, a simple pinewood car, became more than just a toy. It represented hours of shared effort, patience, and a connection that shaped Norm's understanding of craftsmanship. His father wanted him to find his own path, encouraging him to pursue higher education. But even when Norm enrolled in engineering and later shifted to business administration, the pull of woodworking never loosened its grip. When his father passed away in 1995, the loss hit deeper than anyone outside the family could understand. Norm didn't often talk about it, but those early years working side by side had carved a part of him that nothing could replace, and that emotional foundation would guide every decision he made as he built his future. After college, Norm didn't waste a moment trying to figure out where he belonged. He joined a major New England construction firm, and it didn't take long for his dedication to stand out. Within a short time, he was promoted to site supervisor, overseeing crews and navigating complex projects. But even as he climbed the ranks, something inside him felt unsettled. The corporate structure didn't offer the creative freedom he craved, and the idea of working under someone else's vision didn't sit comfortably with him. That growing restlessness pushed him to make a bold move in 1976 when he walked away from the stability of a steady job and launched his own general contracting company, Integrated Structures Incorporated. The decision was risky, but it gave him exactly what he'd been missing: control, independence, and the ability to put his personal touch into every project. Word of his precision and craftsmanship spread quickly, and within a few years, Norm had built a solid reputation across New England. But the turning point came unexpectedly when Russ Morash, a PBS producer, hired Norm's company to renovate his own home. Morash noticed something rare in Norm: not just skill, but an ability to explain what he was doing in a way that felt simple, calm, and natural. Recognizing that this combination could work powerfully on television, Morash invited him to join the renovation of a Victorian home in Dorchester, an ordinary project that became the very first episode of This Old House. Norm didn't know it at the time, but that single invitation would change his career, his influence, and his life forever. This Old House premiered in 1979 and quickly became unlike anything viewers had seen before. Instead of flashy renovations or scripted drama, the show focused on restoring old homes with real craftsmanship, and Norm's calm voice and steady hands became the anchor people trusted. He had a natural way of breaking down complex steps without talking down to the audience, and before long, he wasn't just building projects, he was building confidence in millions of viewers across the country. His role grew alongside the show's success, and as the years passed, Norm evolved into the quiet heart of the series, guiding homeowners and teaching viewers that almost anything was possible with patience and the right tools. By the late '80s, his reputation had become so strong that PBS offered him something few craftsmen ever get, a show entirely centered around his expertise. In 1989, the new Yankee Workshop was born, giving Norm complete freedom to dive deeper into woodworking than ever before. For 21 seasons, he transformed ordinary lumber into pieces that looked like they belonged in museums, taking viewers through every step with clarity and humility. He didn't rush, he didn't complicate, and he always emphasized safety, turning that small reminder at the start of each episode into a signature that fans still remember today. Norm tackled everything from classic shaker furniture to intricate cabinetry and even ambitious outdoor builds, each project proving not just his mastery, but his genuine love for the craft. By the time the show reached its peak, Norm wasn't just a television personality. He had become the face of American woodworking, shaping a legacy that would outlive the workshop itself. By 2009, after more than 2 decades of teaching, building, and inspiring, the new Yankee Workshop came to an unexpected close. The official explanation was simple. Norm wanted more time for personal projects and family, and after 21 seasons of non-stop filming, he felt it was the right moment to step back. But viewers immediately sensed that something deeper was happening. Norm's appearances on This Old House became noticeably less frequent, and fans who followed him closely couldn't ignore the subtle changes. He looked thinner, appeared more tired, and seemed far more reserved than the energetic craftsman they had watched for years. The silence surrounding his reduced presence only intensified speculation. Online discussions grew louder, with some viewers whispering about possible health struggles and even unconfirmed rumors that he might be fighting a serious illness. Neither the network nor his family offered any explanation, which only fueled more questions. While Norm quietly retreated from television, he purchased a home near the Rhode Island coast and shifted his focus inward, pouring his attention into restoring the old property and reconnecting with the slower pace he had long missed. For many fans, it felt as though a familiar voice had simply disappeared, replaced by a mystery no one seemed willing to solve. And yet, even in this quiet chapter, Norm remained deeply connected to the world he helped build, just not in the way people were used to seeing. Stepping away from weekly television didn't mean Norm stopped shaping the woodworking world. Instead, he shifted into projects that allowed him to work quietly, on his own terms. His knowledge continued reaching millions through the books he authored and co-authored over the years, each one offering another layer of insight into the techniques and philosophy that made him a master craftsman. He contributed extensively to This Old House magazine while it was still in publication, translating his hands-on guidance into written form for readers who wanted more than what a half-hour episode could show. Even after the magazine ended, Norm's influence lived on through archived articles and his guest contributions to woodworking publications that valued his experience. Away from the spotlight, he began investing more time into creative passions that most fans never knew he had. At home in Rhode Island, he and his wife Elise, an accomplished potter, found comfort in their shared love for handcrafted work. Norm explored music as another artistic outlet, playing guitar, banjo, and mandolin whenever inspiration struck. Renovating his coastal home became both a personal challenge and a peaceful escape, giving him room to breathe after decades of television schedules. He even expressed interest in learning shipbuilding, showing that his curiosity never faded, even after mastering nearly everything he touched. This quieter life revealed a side of Norm that television never captured, a craftsman who didn't just build projects for viewers, but someone who kept building himself long after the cameras shut off. For years, fans kept asking the same question: what really happened to Norm Abram? A man who spent decades teaching, reassuring, and inspiring, suddenly slipped out of the spotlight, without a farewell, without a final message, without even a hint of what he was going through. That silence left viewers uneasy. They noticed his gradual absence, the moments where he looked thinner, the way episodes felt different without his steady presence. But Norm never explained any of it, not until now. When he finally chose to speak, the truth caught everyone off guard. Norm revealed that the quiet disappearance wasn't part of some planned retirement or a comfortable step back. It was the result of a personal storm he had been fighting in private, one he never wanted the public to see. Behind the calm, familiar voice was a man carrying years of physical strain, emotional pressure, and a fatigue he could no longer ignore. He admitted that his body wasn't keeping up with the demands of constant filming, intense workshop builds, and the endless pressure to remain the pillar viewers expected him to be. But the most heartbreaking moment came when he spoke about fear, something Norm had never allowed himself to show on camera. He explained that the fear wasn't about losing fame or relevance. It was the fear of disappointing the people who trusted him. Viewers who invited him into their homes, who built their first bookshelf because he made it look possible, who found comfort in the sound of his voice during their hardest days. Norm felt he owed them consistency, strength, and the version of himself they knew on television. Admitting he was struggling felt like betraying everything he stood for. So instead of announcing his struggles, he chose silence. He stepped away quietly to protect his privacy, to focus on healing, and to avoid worrying the people who saw him as a symbol of calm reliability. He never imagined the silence would spark rumors or leave people fearing the worst. But when he finally broke that silence, he did it with honesty and with the weight of someone who had carried far more than anyone realized. Norm's revelation wasn't just an update on where he'd been. It was a window into the man behind the craft, a man who had spent a lifetime building for others while quietly falling apart himself. And for millions who loved him, hearing the truth was both shocking and deeply heartbreaking. Even as Norm stepped away from the public eye, the world he helped shape never stopped recognizing his impact. Over the years, he received some of the most meaningful honors a craftsman could achieve, each one celebrating not just his skill, but the way he transformed woodworking for everyday people. In 2009, the same year the new Yankee workshop ended, he was awarded the iSmart Distinguished Service Award for promoting safety on television, a reflection of how seriously he took every reminder to protect your eyes and respect your tools. Nearly a decade later, his legacy was cemented even further when he received both the Ken Burns Lifetime Achievement Award and the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Lifetime Achievement Award, powerful acknowledgments that his work had bridged history, craftsmanship, and education in a way no one else had ever done. Today, Norm lives a quieter life along the Rhode Island coast, far removed from the constant filming and deadlines that once defined his days. He spends more time with his wife, Elise, enjoys the calm routine of coastal living, and still tinkers with new ideas whenever inspiration strikes. Though he appears only occasionally on This Old House, his presence is more symbolic now, a reminder of the foundation he helped build. Fans continue to worry about his long absences, especially as rumors circulate about potential health struggles, but nothing has been confirmed by his family or the network. What is clear, however, is that Norm has chosen peace over publicity, focusing on personal projects, music, and the simple joy of creating with his hands. His legacy lives on in every viewer who picked up a tool because he made it look possible, and in every workshop where his calm voice still echoes through old episodes. Norm may not be in front of the camera much anymore, but the world he shaped is still very much alive, and so is the quiet influence of the man who taught millions how to build something meaningful.